The 2024 NASCAR schedule is slowly coming together. 2 key dates have officially been announced. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I don't know about you guys, but when I get really busy, I love to just write down lists on sticky notes. My desk is literally covered with them right now. It gives me a great sense of accomplishment every time I'm able to cross something off. NASCAR has several ongoing tasks on their to-do list right now, but finally, it sounds like they're close to crossing one off. Hopefully that brings a sense of relief to the entire industry. The 2024 NASCAR schedule is taking shape. Doesn't sound like the full schedule will be released this week. Maybe next week. We might get it the first week of October. We'll see, fingers crossed. But today, 2 very important dates have been confirmed, beginning with Indianapolis Motor Speedway. IMS revealed that NASCAR will return to the oval. The Brickyard 400 is back to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the first ever Brickyard 400. Next year's Cup race will be held on Sunday, July 21st. The Xfinity Series will accompany them. Their race will be on Saturday, July 20th. That's the final weekend before the Summer Olympics kick off. So there's still a chance of there being a 2-week break there in July, early August, so that NBC can focus their attention overseas. I would have preferred a mid-August date. This year, the road course was held on August 13th. My idea was that NBC could have used those 2 weeks where they're broadcasting the Olympics to promote the 30th anniversary of the Brickyard 400. You have America's attention for 2 weeks there. Use that to promote NASCAR's 4th crown jewel returning. Running the Brickyard on July 21st. I mean, it's going to be hot, whether we're talking mid-July, mid-August. I don't think that makes a huge difference. Don't mind the slot, but I would have preferred them keep it in mid-August like it's been the last couple of years. July 21st, that's roughly the same weekend that Pocono was run this year. And I mean, Pocono has been a fantastic event the past couple of seasons. I'd hate to see it move dramatically. We'll wait and see how all the puzzle pieces fit together, but that's just my initial reaction. I'm glad the oval is back. Let me start there. I'm happy NASCAR tried the road course, even if there were a few quite literally bumps in the road. They were able to double up with IndyCar. I think the American race fan won out. And while these past 3 years weren't perfect, each race was at least memorable. Gave us something to talk about. If the NASCAR Cup Series never returns to the road course, I will look back at these 3 years fondly. It went out with a bang. This year's race featured several playoff bubble drivers racing for their season. Came down to the wire, was a great send-off to what I believe was a worthy experiment. But that being said, I am glad the oval is back. I'm excited to see how the next gen car will race here. More than anything though, I'm excited to have a modern crown jewel back on the NASCAR schedule. Look, NASCAR does not have the same history at Indianapolis that IndyCar and open wheel racing does, obviously. But that 1994 Brickyard 400 was a big deal. That was a huge moment for stock car racing. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is perhaps the most famous racetrack in the world. For NASCAR to race there, Jeff Gordon gets the win. That was a massive moment for this sport. That turned the Brickyard into a modern NASCAR crown jewel. It doesn't have the same history as the Southern 500, quite the same significance as the Daytona 500. It's not quite as unique as the Coca-Cola 600, but it's still a crown jewel. You talk to any NASCAR driver, past or present, they want to win on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval. On our new episode of Power Hour, the podcast I host with Brennan Poole, we had Chase Briscoe on this week. Brennan talked about just the difference between the road course and the oval. And I think just about every driver in the garage would echo these same sentiments.
Not a real road course. It's rough.
Yeah, I've not heard good things from drivers.
The oval is so historic. Like, if the fans think the race is boring, like, okay, I get it. Let's work on the package. And I feel like it means more when you win on the oval than it does in the road. And some people might want to be like, well, it's still Indy, but I'm like, it's not the same.
No, it is. It's definitely.
It doesn't even
different.
Feel the same. Like, it was my first time running the Indy road course this year. I had only ran the oval until then, and I can just tell you, like, I'm just like, don't even feel like I'm at Indianapolis. Don't even feel you don't even feel like you're there. So I'm excited for that to be back.
Again, the road course was a worthy experiment, produced some memorable moments, but I'm glad the oval is back. I hope the next gen races well there. There was a tire test, I think, last month. I've said this before, my only worry about next year truly is the at-track atmosphere. You know, the Southern 500 sells out, packed house, beautiful Labor Day evening crowd. The Coke 600 on Memorial Day weekend, packed house. The Daytona 500, 100,000 plus fans jammed into Daytona Beach. It's beautiful. Indianapolis Motor Speedway can hold like over 250,000 people. NASCAR on a good weekend's pulling in 60, 70,000 fans. You know, if that happens next year, there will be gaps in the stands, on TV, even in person. I worry the atmosphere won't be as electric as the other crown jewels, or even like the North Wilkesboro All-Star race, which that's not a segue, but we'll get to that in a moment. That's my only concern, is that optically it won't look as special as the other crown jewels, and kind of like what happened a few years ago, eventually the Brickyard 400 may run out of steam once again. But I'm optimistic and excited for next year. I'm sure many drivers are happy that the oval is back. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you excited that the Brickyard 400 is returning, or will you miss the Indy road course, or maybe a bit of both? What stands out to me, though, is this is another road course off the schedule. Road America was already off the Cup schedule, will now be off the Xfinity Series schedule next year. Recent rumors suggest the Charlotte Roval will be off the schedule next year as well. I know NASCAR's trying to get Montreal on the schedule, but that's a very complicated situation. There's a real possibility next year's schedule will only have 4 road courses: Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Circuit of the Americas, and Chicago, hopefully. We had 7 road courses on the schedule just last year, went down to 6 this year. We could be down to 4 next time around. Some fans will love it, other fans may be concerned. I don't know where I land. As long as the next gen car races the way it does, I'm honestly okay with a couple less road course races. Rumors are swirling, though. There are some ovals that have been discussed lately. I've heard Iowa Speedway's name mentioned quite a few times. And actually, in that episode of Power Hour I mentioned, I asked Chase Briscoe, just open-ended, what's a track he would like to see on next year's schedule? And pretty quickly, without much hesitation, Chase Briscoe honed in on Iowa Speedway. What is one track, a realistic track, that you would like to see on next year's schedule?
Yeah, for mine, that would be easy. It'd be Iowa Speedway. That's by far my favorite racetrack.
Nice.
From a pavement standpoint.
So maybe he knows there's some momentum behind it. We'll have to wait and see. Again, the 2024 schedule likely won't be released this week in its entirety, but maybe as soon as next week. Boy, we're getting into October. It better be coming soon. NASCAR did confirm one other race today. I mentioned it a moment ago, but North Wilkesboro will once again be the site of next year's All-Star race. It sounds like it'll look much like it did this year. The trucks will race there on Saturday, May 18th, and then the Cup Series, the All-Star race, $1 million on the line, will take place on Sunday, May 19th. There will be one big change, though, from last year to this year. North Wilkesboro Speedway will be repaved. That's right, that old asphalt will be tore up and completely replaced. The track is expected to receive like $4 million in grants from the North Carolina state government to use for further infrastructure improvements. But it's now confirmed the track will be repaved. And I'm sure that will be somewhat polarizing. I was there this year. I got to see NASCAR race one final time on that old, worn out, historic pavement. And after seeing what I saw, I come down on Team Repave. They needed to do something different. I'll be honest, the amount of tire wear and fall off we were promised wound up being greatly over-exaggerated this year, at least for the Cup cars. And I don't want to let the Cup car off the hook here. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Bristol. The car is ultimately the problem. I hope we see radical changes made to the Goodyear tires, the gearing. Maybe they're able to add horsepower, although this late in the game, that probably won't happen next year. But even still, I land on Team Repave, partially because I don't expect to get many of those changes. I want to see something different. I don't want to see the same race we saw this year, where it's an old worn out surface in parts, but there are also little grip strips here and there from patches that have been put in over the years. The truck race was pretty good. Trucks aren't quite as stable. There are more mistakes being made, but the moment the Cup guys got on track, it was a letdown. I hope we see radical changes to the cars. I don't really expect to see radical changes to the cars. So therefore, I'd like to at least see radical changes made to the track. The track is due for a repave sooner rather than later anyways. I remember the week leading up to the Cup race this year, they had parts of the track breaking apart when other cars were making runs. There was some concern that, maybe this track won't even hold up for this weekend. It did. It made it. But it's still due for a repave sooner rather than later. Why not go for it next year? I hope they do a good job with it. I hope they're able to use whatever new technology they have available to them to hopefully keep the surface as racy as possible. But something needed to change. Preferably the cars. More realistically, at this point, it's probably easier to repave the track. I still hope NASCAR changes the cars, but I feel like I've been hanging on to that dream for a while now. They just keep making insignificant aero changes. But beyond the track surface, I'm glad North Wilkesboro is back. I think the All-Star date serves it best. It had an all-star atmosphere this year with great concerts. Concourse stands were packed for practice. I know the ratings on TV weren't that good, but a lot of that is just North Wilkesboro is a small market, and it's not going to bring in the casual viewer not from that area. But not everything needs to appease the casual TV audience. I think it's good that we have North Wilkesboro, which is built for the longtime hardcore fans. It's an ode to the long history of NASCAR, to the greats like Junior Johnson, the great fans in and around Wilkes County and North Carolina. We have our big made-for-TV spectacles like the Chicago Street Race. It's good to give those hardcore, loyal, longtime, passionate fans something in their own backyard. I think the All-Star race suits North Wilkesboro really, really well. I'm looking forward to seeing how they can improve it in year 2. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section below. How do you feel about Wilkesboro getting the All-Star race once again? The return to the Indy Oval. How you feeling? What other changes do you expect to be made to next year's schedule? Leave a comment down below. But that is gonna do it, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR every single day. If you're a fan, you're in the right place. And as always, a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. Be sure to listen to Power Hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'll also put a link down in the description below. Thanks for watching, folks. I will catch you in the next episode.